Well, welcome to lesson 39 of A Course in Miracles, and it's My Holiness is My Salvation, so it's another one of the holiness lessons. Cringe, ooh, holiness, what does that mean? Can't remember, don't know. It's one of those frustrating sort of threshold lessons where you're encouraged to embrace something that you don't understand, but that's what faith is all about. And the spiritual path is nothing if not one of faith. So, and this is also one of those lessons where he makes you feel a bit like a dill. Anyone who's from another country doesn't know what a dill is. In Australia, a dill is someone who's a bit simple. So if you're a bit of a dill, you're a bit of a simpleton. So, but, you know, simpletons need workbooks. God bless us all simpletons together. All right, well, my holiness is my salvation. If guilt is hell, what is its opposite? Like the text for which this workbook was written, which is book A of the white. If you've got the white edition off Amazon, book A and book B, you'll need. Like the text for which this workbook was written, the ideas which are used for the exercises are very simple, very clear, and totally unambiguous. You can't get it wrong. We are not concerned with intellectual feats nor logical toys. We are dealing only in the very obvious, which has been overlooked in the clouds of complexity in which you think you think. All right, we've already covered the idea that the presence of the thoughts of which you think simply mean that you're not thinking at all, because those thoughts actually have no meaning. Right? It's like, whoa. If guilt is hell, what is its opposite? This is not difficult, surely. The hesitation you may feel in answering is not due to the ambiguity of the question, but do you believe that guilt is hell? If you did, you would see at once how direct and simple the text is, and you would not need a workbook at all. No one needs to practice to gain what is already his. Right, but do you believe that guilt is hell? I remember going to Sunday school. I'm 53 now. That was like a long, long time ago. I only went for a couple of weeks, and it was drummed into us that hell was this place. It wasn't guilt. It was some place where you burn for eternity, and then they put you out and burn you again. Something like that. You know, it was very unpleasant. So it's kind of a relief to understand that guilt is hell, right? That Hell is here on earth, but it's a state of mind. But so is heaven as a state of mind. And even the Pope said that, not the one we got now, but I think a couple of popes back came out, and big shock to the Catholic world that heaven is a state of mind. It's not a place. Just like eternity. Eternity is a state or a singularity, a constant. We have already said that your holiness is the salvation of the world. What about your own salvation? You cannot give what you do not have. A saviour must be saved. How else can he teach salvation? Today's exercises will apply to you alone, bunker, recognising that your salvation is crucial for the salvation of the world. As you apply the exercises to your own world, the whole world stands to benefit. Why? Because we're one. One vibration affects the whole vibration. Your holiness is the answer to every question that was ever asked, is being asked now, or will be asked in the future. Incredible. Your holiness means the end of guilt and therefore the end of hell. Your holiness is the salvation of the world and your own. How could you, to whom your holiness belongs, be excluded from it? God does not know unholiness. Can it be he does not know his Son? A full 5 minutes are urged for the 4 longer practice periods for today. Longer and more frequent practice periods are encouraged. If you want to exceed the minimum requirements, more rather than longer sessions are recommended, although both are encouraged. Begin the practice periods as usual by repeating today's idea to yourself. My holiness is my salvation. Then, with eyes closed, search out your unloving thoughts in whatever form they appear: uneasiness, depression, anger, fear, worry, attack, insecurity, and so on. Whatever form they take, they are unloving and therefore fearful. And so it is from them that you need to be saved. Specific situations, events, or personalities you associate with unloving thoughts of any kind are suitable subjects for today's exercises. It is imperative for your own salvation that you see them differently, and it is your blessing on them that will save you and give you vision. Slowly, without conscious selection and without undue emphasis on anyone in particular, search your mind for every thought that stands between you and your salvation. Apply the idea for today to each one of them in this way. My unloving thoughts about blank are keeping me in hell. My holiness is my salvation. You may find these sessions easier if you intersperse the applications with several short periods during which you merely repeat today's idea to yourself slowly a few times. You may also find it helpful to include a few short intervals in which you just relax and do not seem to be thinking of anything. Sustained concentration is very difficult at first. It will become much easier as your mind becomes more disciplined and less distractible. Meanwhile, you should feel free to introduce variety into your application periods in whatever form appeals to you. Do not, however, change the idea itself in varying the method of applying it. However you elect to use it, the idea should be stated so that its meaning remains that your holiness is your salvation. And each practice period, by repeating the idea in its original form once more and adding, if guilt is hell, what is its opposite? In the shorter applications, which should be made some 3 or 4 times an hour and more if possible, you may ask yourself this question. Repeat today's idea, or preferably both. If temptations arise, a particularly helpful form of the idea is my holiness is my salvation from this, whatever it is. Pretty straightforward. So tomorrow we'll do lesson 40. You'll notice that the 5-minute practice periods, and I've had a few people write in saying I'm having trouble finding time to do the lessons, and as I mentioned in yesterday's lesson, don't forget, prayer is the medium of miracles, right? And it's the prayer of the heart. You don't have to worry about the exact words. You don't have to be all, and asking for help from the divine, from Jesus, from God, whoever, whatever. Asking help from a non-temporal source, a non-corruptible source, right? Which means you're going to have to let it be miraculous, which is why it's a course in miracles, not a course in, oh, I can do that, I understand. Asking for help from a non-corruptible source for assistance. I need help to find time to do my lessons and to be prompted to do my lessons in the time that suddenly becomes available to me. There's no point in, the divinity of the universe orchestrating 10 minutes every, 4 times a day for you. If you suddenly think, oh, I've got a short break, I'll go and have a durry, which is a cigarette for anyone who doesn't know what a durry is. I'll have a durry and a coffee. And then you get to the end of the day and realise that you haven't done your lesson all day. And I forget which lesson it is, but there's another lesson in this course that says, if you realise that you haven't been doing your lesson in the thing, as soon as you realise that, stop whatever you're doing and go and do your thing. Right? Don't worry about if you're at work. Don't worry about whatever. You just tell them you're on a self-improvement program and you have to do these particular things, and I'm sure everybody at work will be wanting to know what you're doing. They might find it a little crazy, but, not everybody embarks on a radical transformation of mind at some point, but, you're entitled to miracles. All right, well, I love you, and that was a good one. I like those holiness lessons. They bring up a lot of stuff for a lot of people. Tomorrow's going to bring up a lot more of I'm blessed as a son of God. Is that too much? I like it better, Dave, when you call me a child of the light. All right, I love you. Bye.